welcome back.
Hello,
welcome back. This is season preview number 3. We made it through 2, Al. Are you still sane?
Still all right, yeah. It's true. This is the third one in the same night, isn't it? But for the purposes of for the purposes of everyone.
The illusion.
What can I say?
Ruin the magic. Anyway, I've introduced him early, but my name's Sam, and joining me as always is my
ever-present podcasting partner. I'll do it now. Yeah,
do it. Have it. So this is our third one. So we've done Man City and Liverpool. Tonight is the turn of Brighton. Bit of a second team of mine after
Graham
Potter left us at Swansea City. But joining us, we've got Josh from TogetherBHA. How are you doing, Josh?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, not too bad. Cheers for coming on.
All the way from
Charlotte, North Carolina, currently.
We've gone transatlantic, Al.
We've broken America. Look at that. two boys from South Wales. Mom, I made it. Look, I made it.
She come up now.
She think I finished now.
No. So Brighton, where to start? Shall we start with last season? I feel like I know we're doing a season preview, but I feel like it's a good place to start. How did you feel generally, Josh, about last year?
Lots of good, but very frustrating at the same time. It could have been so much better. I'm sure that you, amongst everybody else, has seen the old XG stats.
Yeah.
Of what
it was only a matter of time before that was brought up, wasn't it?
And that really does spell out our whole season last year. The first half was a bit ropey, but we made the changes necessary. We ditched Matt Ryan, and Potter, obviously you probably know as well, but he's an excellent man manager, but he's also ruthless when he needs to be. And Matty Ryan was not what he wants in a goalkeeper. So he gave him 4 months and promptly cut him and brought in Rob Sanchez, which ended up being an unbelievably clever move, astute move, because he then had I think he was the top 3 keepers for shot stopping and clean sheets in 2021. And then he obviously got the call up to the Euros for Spain. So that's a huge 6 months for Rob Sanchez. And that's down to Graham giving him the chance. And once we got past that hump of, getting rid of Matt Ryan and getting Sanchez in, our defense went from leaky to just unbelievably solid. And we became a top 10 team in all but goals scored. And it reflected in the fact that we couldn't get out of that bottom 6.
I love the XG. I love it. Like I play Brighton Bingo when I watch you, especially on Sky Sports. I don't know about out in the US what the coverage is like, but over on Sky Sports is Brighton Bingo. It's XG, it's Dan Burns' height, and it's the fact that Alexis McAllister is Scottish but actually Argentinian.
Yeah.
If you get full out, all 3 full house, you just get drunk. That's my rule. So whenever Brighton play, I get hammered.
And also if you want, you can always add that Graham Potter made the lads in Sweden do a play. If they ever get too deep
okay.
That's always the other one.
That's for a night out, is it? You can get drunk in the house. If you get that one, you have a night out as well.
You go out if you hear that one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're hammered.
Talking about on the point of the defense, you said it was unbelievably strong. Obviously a big part of that was Ben White.
Yes.
Looks like potentially he's going to Arsenal.
Off to Arsenal.
It's pretty much all but done, I think, isn't it? Really, from what we're hearing. Big loss or replaceable?
Replaceable.
I think for the money, he's got to be, isn't he?
Daylight robbery, frankly. We are incredibly wealthy at centre half. We have obviously Ben White, we have Adam Webster and Lewis Dunk, who are both excellent. We have Dan Burn, who can play there, who's supposed to be his preferred position, even though he's been playing left wing back. Joel Veltman, ex-Ajax, was superb last season. He played bits at centre half, but also right wing back. And then we have Leo Ostergaard, Shane Duffy, if he comes back. I don't think he will. He's not the ball player that Potter wants. And we have about 4 others on loan out at, decent sides around Europe that could come in and fill in. I think Leo Ostergaard is going to be that man that gets the opportunity. He was at Coventry all season last season and was very impressive. But
yeah, he had a good season.
He's followed the same pathway as Ben White did. And, the rest is history with Ben. So, thanks very much for the 50 million. I wish Ben all the best. But You can't turn down that kind of money.
No one's bigger than the club, but
definitely not.
Exactly.
It's similar to when last summer as a Swansea we lost Joe Rodon, but we, instead of losing him for daylight robbery, we lost him for peanuts.
We lost him for a lot less than what it should have been. But we're not here to talk about that because we've actually covered that quite a lot,
quite extensively this season.
It pops up quite a bit, to be honest. We're not bitter, we promise.
We are.
I mean, to put it into perspective with Ben, if this goes through for the 50 million as reported, that 50 million is more than every other transfer in Albion's history. So
really?
That puts it in perspective of where we come from. So if we're getting 50 million put on a plate for a centre half that probably was our third best centre half last season, honestly, everyone will snap your hand off for it. Yeah. Absolutely.
We were talking just quickly. We were talking to a City fan, a City podcast that when this goes out a couple of days ago. Yeah. But we were speaking to him and we were talking about the English tax. Do you think that's sort of got something to do with Ben White and the fact you're selling for 50 million to Arsenal? Do you think it's a fact he's English a little bit, or
100%?
Yeah,
I think there's definitely an English tax on there because it's an easy homegrown addition, right? And everyone wants it, especially with Brexit and the visa changes. Everybody wants easy homegrown players, and he's still only 23. I think the other thing is, you're paying for the potential in him, and you're also paying for the 3 years he has on his contract. So I know just today, at the time of recording, Varane looks like he's about to sign for United, and everyone's saying, how on earth are you paying 40 for him and 50 for Ben? Well, Varane's done it all already.
Yeah.
And he's also got 1 year left on his contract. So you're paying for what you get. But English tax is definitely part of it, no doubt about that.
Go on, sorry.
No, I think if you're signing him and he's French, he's probably going for 35, 30 at most.
I agree. I think a big part of it is the fact that obviously Brighton are selling to fellow mid-table side in Arsenal. Direct rivals this season. I think just get that in there. Rile them up, innit? Rile them up for anyone they come on next week. No, I think it's definitely got something to do with him being English, but I rate him. I rate Ben White a lot. I think he's really, really good. I think I rate Lewis Dunk a bit better though.
I was going to say that. Lewis Dunk for me is
the best centre half.
He's solid.
He is. I think the other part for Ben is he's versatile. He's so versatile. He can play right back. He can play central defensive midfielder as well. Dunk he can't, and Dunk's 29 now as well. So again, like the age thing is a big thing. If you watch much of the Albion this year, Adam Webster, just keep an eye on him. You'll realize just how good he is as well. He's one of the best progressors of the ball I've ever seen at centre half.
Yeah, he's your record signing, isn't he? Or he was?
He is, yeah. Yeah, no, he still is as of right now. Yeah.
Yeah, because we did an episode on where we ranked all the record signings, and I don't think he was that high because at the start of the season, nobody he was a bit of an unknown at the start of this season, wasn't he? And but he has impressed me. He's been solid. I think it's a good foundation to build on. I wouldn't say he's necessarily worth what they paid just yet, but I think it's a good foundation to build on. And I mean, like you said, Potter's a fantastic manager. Like the players he brought into Swansea and developed with us, like Ollie McBurney, Dan James.
Well, these are players. Yeah, these are players from the academy brought in.
But he developed them.
He developed them so well. And Connor Roberts playing for his country, Dan James, Manchester United, Ollie McBurney, very unlucky to miss out on Scottish place. So
yeah,
he's superb. I just want to get your opinion on Bissouma. Because there's a lot of speculation going around about Bissouma, and I can't quite decide whether he's staying or going because I read a different thing every week.
Yeah, my last podcast before the end of the season, I think I ended it. One of the last things I said was just be grateful you got to watch him in an Albion shirt because the consensus was he's gone. Everybody thought he was gone. And yet here he is 5 days before August and he's still in an Albion shirt. I know that PSG were interested. There was very much conversation there, but Wijnaldum has gone to them instead. I know that certain other teams were taking like a sniff around, but they've gone elsewhere ever since. Arsenal even, they decided they wanted to go for centre half instead. I don't know. Bissouma's happy here. That's the thing. He's already gone on record saying he's happy at the Albion. So he's 24. It's not like he's going to have a bad season. He's going to be our best player again. I think that if anything, if he chooses to stay, he's simply adding numbers onto his price tag for us next year. I hope he stays. If you'd have asked me a month ago, I'd have said there's no chance. It's not even worth a conversation. At this point, my hopes are starting to get up a little bit that we may well see him.
It's dangerous. That's dangerous.
I know.
It's a dangerous word from you. So would he be your player to watch then this season?
In terms of the obvious, yeah. Like he's just so good. Like he can play against the top teams, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, whatever. Well, maybe not Arsenal, but he can play against the top teams, and he looks like he's totally at comfort with them. Like he's the only one that does. He just looks so comfortable. And when he's playing the lesser teams, when you're rolling up against a Burnley or a Norwich or teams that are in and around us most seasons, he just bosses the game. He just takes over. He's the obvious one. I think he's just going to be superb again if he stays.
What about your less obvious choice?
The new signing, Enoch Mwepu, however you pronounce his name, is a very interesting signing. Very football manager-esque. His stats are outrageous. There's a couple of Stats Bomb and Smart Scout and stuff like that have come out, and they've been saying things like his stats in his division are similar to Correa and other players like that. And if we can develop that out of him on the right hand side of a kind of attacking front three with Trossard on the left, he could be nasty very quickly. He looks very talented. What
struck me about it, like, I know obviously Brighton are a Premier League club, but 20 million for a club like Brighton, they seem to be like quite shrewd in the market. I feel like they don't go throwing around money. Like even when Villa came up a couple of years ago and they spent like a ridiculous amount, didn't they? And then really struggled the season after. I feel like Brighton, their scouting's good, their recruitment is good, and they don't. I feel like they're reluctant to spend a lot of money on a player. So for me, when I saw 20 million from Salzburg, I was like, this guy must be decent. Like they must be backing him. Like, do you feel that as a fan? Like, obviously you're far better versed in Brighton's business than I am. But as an outsider, that's what strikes me about their sort of dealings.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to it, because a lot of fans will see on paper that we've spent something like 330 million since we got promoted, which is a crap ton of money. Can I swear on here?
Yeah.
Within reason, I think. Yeah.
It's a shit ton of money. Like, it's outrageous. The amount of money that 330 million over the course of 4 years is outrageous. What they don't know is that over 150 million of it was on facilities. So training facilities, training grounds, stuff like that. Still a lot of money on players. But the thing is we had a total ethos change between Chris Hughton and Graham Potter. So we kind of wasted 2 years and 150 odd million quid that we spent for Chris, and half the players, Davy Proper left this season, Shane Duffy, no place, Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh gone, Jose Izquierdo gone. These players that Chris Hughton signed are now all being promptly pushed out the door because they're either not good enough or they don't fit Potter's style. So we're kind of having to reset all over again. But we have changed. We got Dan Ashworth in from the English FA, who is very good. He's mostly been touted as one of the reasons why the English youth was so good coming up, and he's already starting to show dividends at the Albion. I don't think we've signed a player over the age of 24 other than Lallana since he came in, and obviously that Lallana was with an idea of coaching in the future as well. We're very much. It looks like we're looking at smaller European leagues as well. Belgium, Austria that we just looked at, Poland with Jakub Moder as well. And we're trying to, snap up these really young, talented players before one of the bigger boys starts sniffing around in 2 years after they play really well at a Euros or something.
Yeah, it's the way forward, though. I think
I've said that for years. Go to there's players who will be playing in the Bulgarian leagues, out in the Iron Curtain as it was. But these are really talented players who will want to come to the English Championship, Premier League, League One, League Two, and they're going to come for not that much money because you've got like to City who are spending splashing the cash. But for teams like Brighton, for teams even like Swansea, to go to these places and to pick up the talent for next to nothing, I just think it makes so much sense.
Yeah, and you're right. They want to, like, of course, they're going to want to come and give it a go in the Premier League. That's
100%.
crazy not to.
Yeah.
And the Albion are they're not too bad with spending fees, right? So like you've seen like 15 million, 19 million, 20 million, but they're very tight on wages. The wage budget is very strict. So these players that are coming in, they're young enough to be like, yeah, all right, like I'll play for 30 grand a week or whatever. That's 3 times as much as being paid at Salzburg. And they'll come in, and if they move on to somewhere good, then great. If they turn out to be one of our best players, then they'll be paid accordingly, and they're up there at 70, 80 grand a week, which is,
and that's exactly how it should be, because wages and the player power, I think, it's got far too out of hand.
Brighton always strike me as a really well-run club.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
Brentford, to be fair, Alex knows my thoughts.
We know,
I'm not a fan, but
nobody in this part of the world is.
No, they're a very, very well-run club. And Brighton strikes me that, and I think that's why I like them, though. And like I'm looking down like the squad list here, and there's not a lot of players that I don't like or that I don't rate. Like Tariq Lamptey.
I was going to say him as my player to watch, because he had a really good start last season. Sort of tailed off towards the. I know he's playing regular football, but he sort of tailed off. But I'd like to see him have a really, really good season this year, because I can see him bringing into the England squad in the future.
Really, at right back.
Well, I think he could.
Pick one position where there's no room.
No, honestly, there we are. Another unpopular opinion on send him off that Alex has made. Tariq Lamptey, England right back in the future. Watch his space.
He's only 20. And the thing is the only reason he didn't feature more was he got hurt, and he's had hamstring surgery.
Exactly.
And they think he's going to be back game-wise around October. Like he'll be fit to start playing fully again.
He'd be hungry, I think.
If you get a full season out of Tariq Lamptey, he's our best player ever. That's how confident I am on how good he is. He is just outrageous. And I think you ask most fans, if you say if he was to come back and play 30 games this season, how important do you think he'd be? I don't think anyone would tell you he won't be player of the season, even now, without even seeing him play. He's that good.
Big call.
Yeah, he's so good.
During this, I'm just saying.
Big call. So 16th last year, you finished. Yep. Honestly, where do you expect or think you'll finish this year?
Our XG unluckiness can't possibly be as bad as last year. Surely not. I felt so bad for Graham. He can't put it in himself. He can do everything. He can coach them to do everything, but he can't coach them to score. I think that if we go into the Premier League with the squad we have, sans Ben White, I think that we're probably going to be looking at 15th and 14th again. I think we'll look better for it, but I don't think we're going to go too much up the table.
I think to a certain extent you've got to take baby steps though a little bit. I know it's been 3 years now. You've been.
This will be his third with Potter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So how many years have you been?
This will be our fifth.
Fifth. Is it really that long? Wow.
Yeah. The Newton years have just flown away.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. But I think even in your fifth year, we were there. How long were we there? 8 seasons.
We were there 8 years.
Yeah, and it just crumbled at the end because I think we almost got too big for our boots. We finished 8th and we were like, oh, here we go. And I think from there we had a takeover because of it, and it all crumbled. We all know what happened there.
All fell apart.
I think, like I said, Brighton are a really well-run club, and finishing 15th and 14th, particularly in the league these days, it's a different league to even when we were there. That top 10 is almost unbreakable, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
particularly
with the exception of West Ham last season.
Yeah.
Things like that, but but truthfully, I can see this Brighton team last season. It was sort of touch and go at times, but this I can see him staying up, and I can see them sort of progressing because PotterBall, the way the style of play that he uses, it's a good, and it's got a good longevity as well. Passing the ball, the ethos of it all. So I can see them staying up, and I can see them being a team to to compete maybe top 10 in years to come.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if you guys go down.
I would be too.
I would be too. I think the key piece is the striker, right? I think there's been all this conversation about us signing Odsonne Edouard from Celtic, who's obviously a very talented young man. If we get him in, then I'm more inclined to say we might actually get in that top 12 this season. But that's the thing with Potter. If we converted, I think I said we had like we were expected to score like 23 more goals than we did. Like even if we score like just a quarter of those, we go to like 12th last season.
Yeah.
It's just baby steps in terms of just what we need to do 100%. As well to move up.
And how much better does 12th sound than 16th?
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't it? And that's talking of strikers though, I feel like I've got the squad list here, and that's the only place where I'm going, it's a bit thin on the ground. Like Aaron Connolly, is he still there?
He's a head case too. He's not. he's 19, 20 now, and he's just constantly in trouble. Like he's out drinking, he's starting fights. He was on Snapchat like 2 weeks ago, like mouthing off at some girl, like trying to start a fight with her mate and stuff. And it's just like, and it's constant, like it's constant bullshit.
It's got to his head a bit, is it?
Yeah. It massively has. He's just. I think if we were to sign a striker, you send Aaron out on loan immediately to a championship team and let him grow up a little bit.
I'd take him at Swansea.
I don't think I could. Not in Swansea, mate. Imagine him getting into a fight down on White Street.
We had Ollie McBurney for 4 years.
Well, actually, yeah, to be fair, Ollie McBurney.
We'd be fine. Morpay, though. I rate him, but he's a bit hit and miss, isn't he?
Danny Welbeck's the same as well. It's sort of hit and miss up front because Danny Welbeck, he will have, that one game and he'll bag a goal and he'll think, oh, actually, there's the quality we saw at Arsenal and Man United. And then he'll go missing for, 6, 7, 8 games, Yeah, that's not what you want in a striker.
He'll score 6 or 7 goals in a season, but that's, again, like you just said, that's exactly it. It's not what you want in a Premier League striker. Mopai scored 10. Mopai scored 10 the season before last and then scored like 8 this season. 2 of them were penalties and missed 3. Like that's he's maybe the holiday has done him good because Mopai, if he can just score some goals, if he can just find the net when he should be and he's capable of doing, like he can be a 12 to 15 goal a season person. He just last season was just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it.
Brilliant at Brentford.
Yeah.
He's another one of their exports. I just think that is the issue. If they can fix that, I think your defense, even without White, is pretty solid. You'll be all right. But you said there's people to fill in Ostergaard. You named. Do you think they'll use the 50 million to replace Ben White though?
Personally, no. I know that there was rumors going around that they were going for the young lad at Liverpool. Can't remember his name.
Oh, Nat Phillips.
Nat Phillips, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe they do, maybe they don't. But we've Dunk, Webster, Ostergaard, Matt Clark has just gone on loan to can't remember who in the Championship. Veltman. It was West Brom, yeah. Joel Veltman, Dan Burn. And then we've got Van Heck, who's on loan out in like PSV or somewhere, Heronveen, somewhere like that over there. And you've got 2 or 3 others that are also coming through that are like Hayden Roberts and a couple of others from the academy that are incredibly highly rated. It just seems like a strange expenditure of money. If we were to go ahead and get someone in at centre half, we've got so many.
I agree. So I think we've hit our time limit. We're trying to keep them. We're trying to be concise, aren't we, Al?
As punctual as we can possibly be.
Yeah, we usually not, but we're actually trying to, new season, new habits. But yeah, thank you, Josh, for joining us. It's been a good old chat.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot about Brighton.
Appreciate you. Yeah, and I have, because I don't feel like I know enough about Brighton.
Yeah, but I've learned a lot about Brighton. Do you want to spend like 2 minutes or whatever telling people where they can find your podcast?
Yeah, it's just at TogetherBHA on just about everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, wherever. Primarily Twitter. I'm mostly on Twitter, but just wherever you want, really, I can be available. When I do my podcasts, it's usually after games or if there's any like major events. So like the ESL, we did like an emergency podcast.
So did we.
We did as well.
And I'll also stream it on Twitch most of the time as well, just to have some fan interaction at the time of. So yeah, feel free to check it out and we'll discuss whatever you want to discuss.
Sweet. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, lads.
No problem. This is our third day, Al, isn't it? Third of
the day.
And I'm off to bed. Well, yeah, thank you again, Josh, for joining us. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with another one. I can't remember who. I can't remember who's next. I'm not gonna lie.
We'll find out, don't we? We'll find out.
Yeah, the suspense. We'll just have to, just have to carry you now. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Good night. Ta-ra.
Take care.